Thank you for joining me today on my channel. We're going to give a few reasons why you're in the roommate stage. I know I've been getting a lot of feedback on this particular content, so a lot of you must be in the roommate stage. And it's very easy and common to be in the roommate stage. Listen, relationships take work. They're just like your body when you're trying to work your body out by going to the gym and doing a diet. I mean, everything in life takes work. And for whatever reason, we think that love phase after, that year of being together should continue. And even though you're going to still love each other, that chemistry that brought you together is not going to operate in the same way. So you have to work at your relationship. And so if you don't work at your relationship, you're going to get into the roommate stage. You're going to just get busy with life and not really be attentive to the other person. You're going to stop the flirting, stop the little soft things that you do for one another, stop the little kisses in the hallway, and stop the missing each other. Because one of the things that happens in the roommate stage is we start taking each other for granted. You start disrespecting each other. You start talking to each other in a way that maybe in that first year of romance you didn't, because you were so excited to be with them and you wouldn't even think about talking to them in a certain way. But when we take advantage of each other, it starts to build resentment. And so some of the examples of taking advantage of, guys will work too much. Guys won't pick up the phone when their wives call. Women will start to, think about the kids more than the husband. When the husband comes home, he doesn't even get a smile or a greeting. It's like he just walked in, or he's handed the child whenever he walks in the door and he's been busy all day long and he doesn't get any kind of feedback that's positive from you. Or the woman starts griping through the day, like, I need a rescue. This and this happened bad. It's not a positive feedback that the man is getting. So he doesn't really want to hear all that. Now, it doesn't mean you don't have a place to vent, ladies, but you need to be careful and think about what they may be doing. Now, the paradigm of respect doesn't sound like, oh, I don't want to bother him. He's not going to pick up my phone call. It sounds more like, I got to think through what he's got going on today. Did I even listen to him when he told me what he had going on? Oh, he has that big meeting. Let me be conscientious about that before I tell them, oh, this kid's not obeying me, or I need some ketchup. Can you get it on the way home? Let's be more conscientious about what the other person's doing, because for sure when women do that, and we do it often, the men will start to feel disrespected. Now, the men are not respecting the women and appreciating what they do, because it's like, well, it's your job to take care of the kids. It's your job to cook. It's your job to be home and run errands. Well, they're not taking into consideration that that's a sacrifice for you. Like, you're sacrificing your entire identity in order to go to the laundry and be the taxi for the kids and all that. And he doesn't appreciate that. And so what happens is, in just the few examples I gave you for each gender in the partnership, people start feeling taken for granted. And when you start feeling taken for granted, you start building resentment. And then you get into the roommate stage. So how do you fight back from that? Well, first of all, like I said before, be conscientious. Ask about certain things. And that goes for the men and the women. Because if I remember what you're doing today, even if it's something that you're just a tiny bit stressed over, but I remember it enough to call you or to text you, hey, I'm praying for you, or thinking about you, or I'm asking God to give you favor with man today, or settle the kids. I mean, those little nuggets make a big difference to make someone feel loved. And if you're in the roommate stage, you're probably not doing a lot of that anymore. So you have to get back to consciously thinking about the other person and the other person's day, and then expressing it to them, making sure that they know. The other thing is, if you're going to work at your relationship, you have to keep building your relationship. That means building experiences. Here's what happens. So you get together and, you have this chemistry and you got the love bug and all. And what happens is, y'all are building a future in your minds. I want to finish this school. I want to graduate from here. I want to move here. I like this house. How many kids do you want? And so what occurs is there's a lot of adventure going on between y'all, because you're thinking about your aspirations and your goals together. And so then what you're doing is you're trying to accomplish them together. So there's an interest. Did you get that job promotion? Are you pregnant yet? You see, all of the goals that we're creating together from the very beginning are kind of invested in by each of us. So we're really feeling cared about when the other person's like, did you do this yet? Because we're invested. And so what happens in the roommate stage is if you look back at your life, you probably have accomplished a lot of that already. And so when you've accomplished it, and then, when you have kids, you got a lot of responsibility. When you get the job promotion you wanted, you got a lot of responsibility. When you get the bigger house, you got a lot of responsibility. And so the responsibilities make us not necessarily appreciate the joy of building it together. And that's a lot about things that us humans manifest on life, manifesting it and creating the idea and working towards the idea sometimes gives a much stronger, powerful, positive influence in our soul than actually getting it. Because once you get it, you got a lot of responsibility, and that can drag you down. And so we always, as humans, we always have to keep our minds on what's the next thing, so that we can keep building the positive energy within us. And so with a coupleship, to not get into a roommate phase, you got to be about the next thing. And you know what? That means, okay, we got a mountain house, then we've got a beach house, and that means more and more and more responsibility. So don't make them big. We got to go to Europe. We hadn't been there yet. Stop making them so big and make the adventures small, a whole lot less expensive, something that you can do where you don't need a babysitter for a week. You can kind of swift away with each other on a weekend and keep building the relationship. And then just discipline yourself. Like when you go out to eat, don't look at your phone. Ask the person something that intrigues them. If you know what's going on in their day and you know what's going on in their business, let's not talk about that. And let's put a boundary where we will not talk about the kids during our dinner. Let's get to know each other. You can do things simple like highs and lows. What was your high today? What was your low today? Just start off a conversation instead of gossiping about other people and not building anything but negativity. And then you can ask questions that are probing, like, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live? If you could go anywhere, asking them bucket list things, and then that'll start a conversation. And then before you know it, that resentment's getting lower and the connection is building. And then after dinner, you might have a little playtime that will be enjoyable for both of y'all too, which is a great physical connection between y'all. I hope you enjoy this content. Please subscribe if you want more.